Developing right now on Morning News Now, deal or no deal? That's the question from President Trump to key trading partners with just hours to go before those steep tariffs kick in. The risk from those tariffs keeping the Fed from lowering interest rates despite all the pressure the president's putting on Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
To know each point that this gentleman keeps up costs us $365 billion a year. It's all because of the Fed.
We'll have the latest developments from Washington to Wall Street and what it all means for your wallet. Also developing another day of sun and storms. Triple-digit heat forecast for much of the south and southeast, and the threat of flash flooding across the northeast and mid-Atlantic. We are tracking it all. Plus, complication concerns. Doctors sounding the alarm on a rare life-threatening brain condition seen in kids with the flu. The unusual uptick in cases and what parents should know. And are you ready for some football? That's right, the NFL is back for some preseason fun with all the excitement leading up to tonight's Pro Football Hall of Fame game. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. We're going to begin this Thursday morning with a decision by the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates steady. That move, not a surprise, despite pressure from the White House to lower rates. The Fed says, yes, we have seen economic growth in the first half of the year, but inflation remains somewhat elevated. Two Federal Reserve Board members, both appointed by President Trump, dissented from the decision. That is something that has not occurred in more than 3 decades. President Trump, for his part, slammed Fed Chair Jerome Powell's decision.
We should be the lowest interest rate, and we're not. We're 38, number 38, because of the Fed. It's all because of the Fed. He's done a bad job.
One thing we do know the Fed is keeping an eye on, President Trump's trade policies. Just yesterday, the president announced higher tariffs on India and Brazil, while lowering tariff rates on South Korea. In other news out of Washington, the Supreme Court announced that justices will meet in September to discuss Ghislaine Maxwell's case. She's appealing her 2021 conviction on sex trafficking charges related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. The White House has been under ongoing pressure to release files on the convicted sex offender. A lot to talk about. In a moment, we'll have more on the Fed's interest rate decision when we check in with Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Let's kick things off with NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba from Washington. Monica, good morning. So first up, the Jeffrey Epstein case. Tell us about the Supreme Court's decision to actually hear Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction appeal at the beginning of the fall term. And also, the Justice Department laid out arguments this week for the release of grand jury transcripts in both the Epstein and Maxwell criminal cases. What are we learning there?
Yeah, Joe, exactly. So this is the appeals process that is going to be playing out for Ghislaine Maxwell. And remember, one of the terms for her attorney laying out this idea that she could perhaps testify before Congress, they're saying she could do that, but not until this process plays out. And so we know likely this will happen in a couple of months, as the Supreme Court has indicated. And then there will be a question of whatever happens with that case. After that, maybe then we could see some congressional testimony from her, though remember, she's trying to seek congressional immunity, and right now the Oversight Committee is saying that they won't grant that. But this also raises some questions about what might happen with the Department of Justice, as remember that Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, met with her for a couple of days and said that he was going to be able to share some information from those discussions, quote, at an appropriate time. But you have to think maybe that won't take place until after this plays out, unclear. And on the point of the grand jury transcripts, this has been a point that the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, have been trying to make, saying that it is in the public's interest to try to unseal some of these, even though the courts are saying they would have to redact them pretty heavily, and it's unclear that there would be enough of a justification to do that at this point. Joe.
Talk about the announcement yesterday that sent some shockwaves through the Democratic Party. Former Vice President Kamala Harris says she will not run for California governor next year, ending months of speculation there. Did she give a reason, and is it possible that she will run for president again in 2028?
It's possible, Joe, and Democrats were, of course, watching that very, very closely. And really the idea here is by opting not to run for governor of California, Kamala Harris can kind of preserve her option to run for president again in 2028 if she decides to do so. And we're told that right now her focus is on the present moment and not on making a decision about that yet, that she's going to try to help other Democrats who may call upon her or may not, because relitigating 2024 ahead of the midterms and for upcoming races may be really difficult and something that Democrats want to avoid. But we're told that really over the last month or so, she gathered with advisors and she tried to make this decision and felt that even though she loves California, remember she was a senator from there, this just wasn't the right job to pursue at this time. She doesn't want to be in elected office in this moment, but she wasn't ruling it out potentially for the future.
Monica, let's get more into the Fed's decision yesterday to keep interest rates steady. We know the president and Fed Chair Jerome Powell, they have a contentious relationship, to put it mildly, right now. We just heard a bit of the president's reaction to the decision, but what else are we hearing from the White House?
Yeah, and remember that the White House has been trying to pressure Jerome Powell, and Jerome Powell said even yesterday that he's not going to bow to any of that kind of pressure. He's very proud of the independence of the central bank and said that he appreciated the president's visit last week. He said it was an honor to sit down with him, but that, again, he wasn't going to entertain any of this political pressure. The president, for his part, continues to just rail against him, but has sort of backed off this idea that he could fire him. Remember, he would need cause in order to do that, which at this point it doesn't seem he has. But also his term, Jerome Powell, that is, will end next year, May of 2026. So at this point, it seems the president is going to just let him run out the clock on that, even though he has continually expressed his displeasure with him.
All right, Monica Alba kicking us off this hour. Thank you so much. Let's get some analysis on the Fed's decision to keep interest rates steady with Investopedia's editor-in-chief, Caleb Silver. So this move, of course, not a surprise. What everyone was really waiting to do was hear what Jerome Powell had to say about the future, about September. Let's listen to a little of what he said.
We have made no decisions about September. We don't do that in advance. We'll be taking that information into consideration and all the other information we get as we make our decision at the September meeting. It's been a very dynamic time for these trade negotiations and lots and lots of events in the intermeeting period. But we're still, a ways away from seeing where things settle down. There are many uncertainties left to resolve.
So these comments sent stocks a little bit lower yesterday. Why is that? What's the reaction to what Powell had to say?
I think there was a lot of anticipation that the Fed might cut later this fall, maybe a quarter point in September, maybe another quarter point in December. But the Fed chair has been very clear. Without clear information on tariffs and what it's going to do to consumer prices, what it's going to do to the labor market, no reason to cut interest rates right now. When you look at the economy, we have almost full employment, 4.1% unemployment. We'll get an update on that tomorrow with the July jobs report. And inflation ticking a little bit higher, especially in some of the areas you might expect. Apparel imports, auto part imports, that's pushing prices higher. A Fed cut now, a rate cut now, might trigger more inflation on top of what might be more inflation coming as soon as tomorrow.
If we read between the lines here, is Powell essentially saying, hey, if we back off this tariff policy, then yeah, we're going to lower interest rates, or is that taking things too far?
Maybe too far, but what he's saying is without clarity, without giving us a concrete, clear tariff policy that companies and industry can actually depend on and put numbers to, why cut rates right now? There's no reason, again, to trigger new inflation when we know more inflation is coming in the form of higher prices due to the tariffs that will go into effect as soon as tomorrow and this weekend.
As I mentioned, there were those two dissenting votes. Talk about how significant that is and how unprecedented or rare that is.
Yeah, for Fed geeks like us, dissenting votes, especially two of them, are pretty rare. So Christopher Waller, he's a Fed appointee. Michelle Baumann, also a Trump appointee. They are both dissenting and did not actually vote for holding rates where they are. Now, this could be jockeying to see who might be the new Fed chair. But also, there are some Fed governors, and it's not just Fed Chair Powell who makes the decision on interest rates. There are 12 Fed presidents that make this decision. They maybe think that you should cut rates now so you don't, if we do see a spike in unemployment, we can temper that with lower interest rates.
Yeah, it's important to remember a lot of people might think there's one person here. It's more than one person making these decisions. So when we talk about tariffs, we know yesterday the Trump administration put higher tariffs on both India and Brazil. lower ones on South Korea. What could be the impact of these decisions?
Well, what's interesting is that all of these trade deals that he's making, especially the ones that have the lower tariff rates and threaten, all promise investment from that country into the United States. So that's kind of the formula. You've seen it before. You see it with Europe. Now you're seeing it with South Korea. We're probably going to see maybe more movement around it with Thailand and Cambodia. But the three big trading partners we want to pay attention to are Canada, Mexico, and China. Canada looks very far away from a deal. China, it sounds like they're talking. Maybe we'll have something later this fall. And Mexico is very uncertain right now. But those are our three biggest trading partners.
All right, Caleb Silver, as always, good to have you with us. People all along the Pacific Rim are breathing a sigh of relief this morning. Tens of millions from Japan to America's west coast were bracing for the possibility of destructive tsunami waves after that powerful earthquake off the coast of Russia. But researchers say we avoided a worst-case scenario. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the latest from Hawaii.
Tsunami alerts issued as far away as South America. After that massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake, one of the largest ever recorded, struck off Russia's Pacific coast, sending people rushing out of crumbling buildings. Portions of the ceiling collapsing on travelers at an airport. Doctors here seen mid-surgery, desperately trying to stabilize a patient. Tremors shattering this Russian kindergarten building, the entire wall falling away. Thank God there were no children inside, he says. The quake happening along the Pacific's Ring of Fire. The first tsunami spotted in this small fishing village. You can see those buildings floating away. In Japan, millions evacuated, some flocking to rooftops. And in the U.S., tsunami warnings issued up and down the West Coast.
We decided to go to elevated ground.
Hawaii braced for the worst.
It can move cars, it will throw fences around. If it hits, it can dislodge trees.
Honolulu in gridlock as residents race to get away from the coast. Tourists at beachfront hotels forced to seek shelter above the 4th floor. Hundreds crowding in resort hallways for hours. Airlines canceling flights. The Coast Guard ordering all commercial vessels to evacuate harbors.
They left without us. Hold on, I'll show you. There they are. They're leaving us.
Mandy Berry said she had to stay the night in a Hilo shelter after her tour bus didn't make it back before her cruise ship left port.
My first thought was, why are they closing the gate? And then my second thought was, wow, this is really happening. They're really going to leave us.
Waves crested to over 5 feet in some areas, but no major injuries or damage reported.
Here in Hawaii, officials are crediting that early alert system. Despite some of the traffic that people experienced, it did give folks more than 4 hours to be able to safely get away from the coast. Back to you.
All right, Liz, thank you. Let's turn to NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman, who's tracking those heat alerts across the South this morning, and hopefully, we hope, some relief for us here in the Northeast. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Yes, relief. That is the word that everybody has been hoping that I would say over the past couple of days. And finally, we do have some relief in some spots. Now, you'll notice we've still got 52 million people under heat alerts. Most of those are focused across parts of the Southeast and stretching to the Southern Plains. Those are going to stick with us, unfortunately, for the next couple of days. We're still going to see the heat and humidity across that region, but we're slowly but surely starting to get a little bit more relief in the picture for our friends across parts of the northern tier of the eastern half of the country. So Boston, you're topping out at just 76 degrees today, back towards the Great Lakes and parts of the northern and even central plains. You are much more comfortable with high 70s to low 80s for your temperatures this afternoon. Notice the 90s and triple-digit heat index values from Washington, D.C. to Raleigh to Memphis, even 104 degrees for the actual temperature in Dallas today. We look ahead to tomorrow, and more of that cool air starts to filter in closer to the coast. We've got New York City ending up just into the mid-70s. That temperature way below normal for where we should be. It'll rebound by the time we get into the weekend. Unfortunately, if you're looking for the cool air across the south, well, you're going to have to wait a little while longer. We're going to keep it quite warm over the next couple of days. Now, one caveat to this is the cold front that's bringing us the relief is also bringing us some rain. And it could be impactful, especially for your afternoon commute today. So here's what we've got going on right now. Across the Northeast and stretching back into the Midwest, we've got the rain. Indianapolis, Buffalo, you've been in and out of those showers all day this morning, or all day so far. We've got flood alerts up for 46 million people across the Northeast, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., all included in that. And here's why. We've got this batch of rain that's going to slide to the east as that cold front works to the east. This is going to slow down your afternoon commute. We're likely going to see some urban flooding, and the potential for flash flooding is going to be there as well. Notice, though, also we've got a severe threat. So Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. has that slight risk. This means wind gusts, damaging hail, and the potential for tornadoes today. It's on the low end, but it's not zero. And most importantly, Joe, we've seen how the subway platforms flood in recent rains. We have the potential to see hourly rainfall rates 1 to 3 inches. Subways only can take, 1.75 inches per hour. So this is going to be something that we'll watch today. Likely issues across that region through the afternoon commute.
Something to keep in mind. All right, Angie, thank you so much. There is relief in Arkansas. A suspect is now in custody in the killings of a couple who were murdered while hiking with their 2 young daughters. After a days-long manhunt, 28-year-old James Andrew McGann was arrested yesterday at a barbershop in Springdale. He's now charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Clinton and Kristen Brink were fatally attacked on Saturday while hiking at Devil's Den State Park. Their 7- and 9-year-old daughters were with them, but they were not hurt. Authorities have still not said how the couple was killed or what the motive may have been. A former dentist from Colorado will now spend the rest of his life in prison after he was convicted of murdering his wife. A jury found James Craig guilty of poisoning her food and medication over time, killing her. NBC News correspondent Camila Bernal has more details from the courtroom.
It took the jury just about 8 hours to render its verdict.
We, the jury, unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt, find the defendant, James Craig, guilty of murder in the first degree.
Jurors finding former Colorado dentist James Craig guilty of killing his wife Angela in 2023, who he cheated on for years. Surrounded by his lawyers, Craig showed little reaction as 6 guilty counts were read by the judge. The jury finding he deliberately and methodically poisoned his wife's protein shakes, doctored her pills, and injected her IV, killing her over the course of several days.
She was strong, and she knew who she was. She could command a room just by entering it.
Angela's family speaking to the court.
He was supposed to be my hero, and instead he'll forever be the villain in my book. And it hurts so bad every day.
The jury also finding Craig guilty on all charges related to his attempts to cover up his crime. Craig's defense team asking for immediate sentencing.
Dr. Craig unleashed a path of destruction as wide as a tornado and just as devastating.
The judge declaring he will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Camila Bernal, NBC News.
We are learning more about the gunman involved in this week's deadly shooting in an office building here in New York. Police say Shane Tamura shot and killed 4 people Monday night with an AR-15 style rifle before dying by suicide. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin has more on how Tamura got the weapon and what investigators found inside his Las Vegas home.
Law enforcement sources say Shane Tamura bought this AR-15 style rifle from a former coworker for $1,400. Police say he'd go on to use the weapon to kill 4 people at 345 Park Avenue before taking his own life. Law enforcement sources say Tamura's former coworker at the Horseshoe Casino purchased the gun legally, but they're still reviewing whether the sale to Tamura, who had a documented history of mental illness, was legal, adding the former coworker is cooperating. The same sources tell NBC News he also sold Tamura this black BMW that Tamura used to drive to New York City.
We have a lot of work to take a look at what was clearly the motive. Was anybody else involved?
We're also learning new details about what authorities found when they searched Tamura's Las Vegas apartment, including a second handwritten suicide note to his parents, writing, "When I look into you and Dad's eyes, all I see is disappointment. I love you, Mama. I'm sorry." Investigators also found several prescriptions in Tamura's name, including antipsychotic and anti-epileptic medications. Investigators believe Tamura may have been targeting NFL headquarters at the skyscraper. A suicide note found on his body indicated he believed he had CTE, a degenerative brain disease. The 27-year-old had played football in high school with the lone Neil.
I know one time for sure he had to sit out a game because he had a concussion.
He's a people person.
Meanwhile, the brother of slain security officer Alain Etienne remembered him as a hero.
Always doing his part to make the city of New York a little bit safer every day.
And 27-year-old Julia Hyman was the first victim laid to rest.
Julia changed our lives. She made us better friends, better listeners, and better people.
McLaughlin reporting. Law enforcement sources tell NBC News that Tamura received 2 phone calls during his drive to New York City, including one from an unknown caller in New Jersey on the day of the attack. Now to a shocking story out of Southern Virginia, where a city councilman was attacked on Wednesday. Police say a man confronted Danville Councilman Lee Vogler before pouring gasoline on him and setting him on fire. This morning, the suspect is in custody. NBC's Garrett Hake has more on this disturbing attack.
Police in a small Southern Virginia town have charged a 29-year-old man with attempted murder, accusing him of dousing Danville City Councilman Lee Vogler with a flammable liquid and setting him on fire. Witnesses at the local magazine where Vogler worked told police Shotzi Michael Buck Hayes somehow forced his way into the office and threw the liquid on Vogler, who exited the building, where Hayes then set him alight. The magazine's publisher shaken by the assault.
This type of senseless act of violence has to stop. You do not have the right as a human being to get upset with someone enough to lash out and attempt to harm them in any way, much less this way.
Witnesses provided a description of the suspect and his car. Hayes was arrested a short time later. Police say the 2 men knew each other and that the attack stemmed from a personal matter, not related to politics or Vogler's position on the city council.
This is Danville City Councilman Lee Vogler.
In 2012, Vogler, a Republican, became the youngest person ever elected to the council at 24. He was repeatedly re-elected, including last year, and wrote regularly for the magazine, often short posts about life with his wife and 2 young children.
He is a very gregarious, handsome gentleman with a tremendous energy.
Vogler was airlifted to an area hospital after the attack. The magazine's publisher says he was conscious and speaking at that time. There is no new word on his condition.
All right, Garrett, thank you so much. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, burglaries with a high-tech twist. We're going to take you to the Hollywood Hills, where a star athlete has become the latest target for tech-savvy thieves. Up first after the break, famine and frustration in the Middle East. More countries taking a stand against Israel's war on Gaza. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Canada is the latest Western nation to symbolically speak out against Israel and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Following a cabinet meeting yesterday, Prime Minister Mark Carney said that Canada would recognize a Palestinian state in September unless Israel agrees to a ceasefire in Gaza. That echoes the same commitment made by Britain just one day earlier. Globally, we are seeing a broader shift away from Israel in recent weeks over the situation in Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 150 people have died from starvation in the enclave, and the majority of those are children. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley, who joins us from Tel Aviv. Matt, good morning. We spoke yesterday about how these recognitions of Palestinian statehood are largely symbolic. But as more nations make this commitment, what is some of the response that we are hearing from Israel?
Yeah, I mean, they're symbolic and they aren't, right? I mean, we're talking about a sea change, as you just described, a really big move by countries throughout the world. And, you know, one of the things that's really interesting about this is that there were already about 147 countries that recognize Palestinian sovereignty and statehood. But these countries are G7 nations, members of the European Union. In the case of Britain and France, they are permanent members of the Security Council. So symbolic, yes, but diplomacy is kind of always symbolic. And this is what is so important here, is that this represents something that could go a lot further. We already heard from the Swedish Prime Minister saying that calling on the European Union to suspend trade talks with Israel. These, at the moment, do not have any practical implications on the ground. The people of Gaza, the people of the West Bank are not going to feel the difference in British and French and Canadian foreign policy. But it really has opened the floodgates to big changes that are still yet to come. And that's why we keep hearing, every time we hear one of these announcements, real anger from the Israelis. It's also a signal to the Israelis that their isolation is increasing in a way that it hadn't before. Important to note here, Joe, when it comes to foreign relations in this country, the Israelis look to Washington and almost entirely Washington alone. There is very little regard given to what we've seen elsewhere.
Despite this international pressure, Matt, we know the death toll from famine and the violence near aid sites in Gaza keeps growing. The UN says the Israeli military fired shots at Palestinians that were waiting for an aid convoy yesterday. The UN also saying, quote, no one should be forced to risk their life to eat. What are the latest conditions on the ground? Where do things stand with getting food to those who just need it so desperately?
Yeah, well, we just heard about another big mass shooting while people were waiting in line for aid yesterday. At least 30 people were killed, according to officials in the Gaza Strip. That number could increase. This is on the daily. We're seeing this regularly, both at United Nations distribution sites and at those sites controlled by the Washington and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. So really, we're talking about keeping alive in the Gaza Strip could cost you your life. And we're seeing this over and over and over again. But this is the fourth day in which the Israelis have started to allow in more aid into the Gaza Strip. They're allowing countries like Jordan and the United Arab Emirates to airdrop aid into the Gaza Strip. Still, aid agencies are warning this isn't enough, that they need more, and that the aid that's being provided won't necessarily be enough to reverse the effects of malnutrition for the very youngest of patients, for whom the ravages of a lack of nutrients have already been felt. Even those children who survive severe malnutrition may experience real problems for the rest of their lives because they're at such a formative age to have that affliction.
Matt, a senior U.S. official said in a statement that President Trump's envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, is going to travel to Israel today. Very quickly, what do we know about his agenda?
Really interesting development, because normally Witkoff would only come when there's something in the offing, when there's about to be some big announcement of a ceasefire deal or something like that. We know that that's not the case here. We know that Witkoff is going to be meeting with Netanyahu and maybe some other Israeli officials. The interesting thing here is that he might actually go into the Gaza Strip, according to Israeli media. He might actually visit one of these sites run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. That would be a very, very big step for this diplomat, who so far has really paid a lot of attention to this part of the world and whose diplomacy has been relatively successful. So we could be seeing this as another sign, not of a breakthrough in the agreements, but in the change in Trump administration policy toward Israel and the Palestinians.
All right, Matt Bradley in Tel Aviv. Matt, thank you. We've got developing news out of Ukraine, where overnight Russians launched a deadly air attack on the capital. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga has that and some other world news in 60 seconds. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Authorities in Ukraine said at least 8 people were killed and another 82 were injured after the capital, Kyiv, was pounded once again by a new wave of Russian drones and missiles overnight. Now, authorities say Russia fired more than 300 drones and 8 cruise missiles. Most were intercepted, but one hit a 9-story residential building which collapsed. As rescue teams are searching for people under the rubble, the fear is that the death toll may rise. Let's go to Britain now, where on Wednesday, flights in London and other cities were disrupted for over 4 hours due to a radar-related technical issue at major airports. The country's traffic control provider said the problem has been fixed and apologized to those affected by the issue. And finally, let's go to Russia, where experts at the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg have created a high-resolution images of tattoos found on a 2,500-year-old Siberian ice mummy. They revealed intricate and beautiful designs of leopards, a stag, a rooster, and a mythical half lion and half eagle creature. Experts say the tattoos were so complex they will be difficult to be reproduced even by modern tattoo artists, Joe.
How about that? I wonder how long you had to sit for a tattoo 2,500 years ago. All right. Claudio, thank you so much. In other international news, fans packed the streets of Birmingham, England, paying their final respects to heavy metal legend Ozzy Osbourne. NBC's Molly Hunter reports on the emotional hometown farewell to the musical icon.
On the streets of Birmingham, fans of the late heavy metal icon Ozzy Osbourne lined up by the thousands to say goodbye to the Prince of Darkness.
I've followed him all my life, and even though we knew it was coming, it's just a big shock still.
I'm very sad to see Ozzy go, but I think he'd be proud of the turnout today.
We want to show our support today for him and his family.
Osbourne's final ride, a procession through the streets of his home city and the birthplace of heavy metal. His wife Sharon and kids Kelly, Jack, and Amy Osbourne breaking down in tears as they laid flowers at a bench named after Osbourne's iconic rock band, Black Sabbath. Osbourne died July 22nd after years of living with Parkinson's disease. And earlier this month, right here in Birmingham, the pioneering singer played one final concert with his original Black Sabbath bandmates.
You got no idea how I feel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Some of those lucky fans remembering his last stand.
At that concert, he was suffering, but he gave us the best set list and he gave us the performance of a lifetime. So he's the definition of resilience, he's the definition of perseverance, and he's the definition of metal, if you ask me.
Osbourne's successful band and solo careers included hits like Paranoid and Crazy Train. Osbourne later introducing himself and his family to a new generation with a wild reality show that defined the genre and sparked conversations around their unusual family dynamic and parenting style.
Give me the knife!
The true end of an era, family and lifelong fans bidding farewell to the legendary frontman. Molly Hunter, NBC News, London.
Quite the farewell there. All right, coming up, an alarming side effect for kids with the flu. The warning from doctors about an unusual uptick in a rare, life-threatening brain condition. Morning News Now. We'll be right back. We are back with a health alert for parents and pediatricians. A new study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association is shedding light on a rare but potentially deadly flu complication impacting children. It's known as ANE. I won't dare try to pronounce what it stands for. Perhaps Dr. Azar will tackle that in a moment. But here's what I can tell you. It's a condition that causes severe brain swelling and an extreme immune response. Researchers analyzed 41 cases of the illness between 2023 and 2025. The report found 27% of affected children died. Of those who survived, 63% still had moderate to severe physical disabilities 3 months after they got sick. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar joins us now to talk more about this. So what exactly is ANE and why is it so dangerous for children?
Okay, so ANE stands for acute necrotizing encephalopathy. The necrotizing part is not so much important as the encephalopathy part, which indicates that there is significant brain inflammation and dysfunction. It is fortunately not a common complication from the flu, but we know, and we've talked about this for years, Joe, that perfectly healthy children can actually die from flu. This is considered one of the most severe complications of flu. Of the children who passed away, yes, you said the residual, about 2/3 had residual neurological consequences. It should be noted that only one child who passed away wasn't vaccinated. Was vaccinated. I apologize.
Yes.
So the vast majority of kids who developed this complication and who died from this complication were unvaccinated.
Did not have vaccines.
Yes.
So clearly it's a serious condition. How is it treated?
So one of the main reasons that these docs wanted to highlight the condition is that with prompt diagnosis and intervention, kids can do better. So essentially, we've all talked about the concept of sepsis. That's when your body's immune system just goes haywire and overreacts to, let's say, an infection. So in this case, it's kind of the same thing. Your body is overreacting to the flu, and treatment is therefore targeted at tamping down that inflammation. So things like steroids, other things that we call IVIG, plasma exchange, even more sophisticated medicines actually that we use to treat COVID in many cases is how this can be treated.
So clearly vaccines play a major role in just making sure that you're okay.
Yeah, Joe, I always say, there's a lot of hard decisions when it comes to parenting. We all know that. This is one of the easy ones. Get your kids vaccinated against flu. The median age of the children involved was 5. And we know that younger kids are particularly susceptible to complications from flu. Not always with COVID. We've had these conversations, but flu we know about. It can be deadly. This is a rare complication, but when it happens, it can be quite devastating.
Realizing it is rare, are there signs and symptoms parents, doctors should be on the lookout for?
So obviously the early symptoms of flu resemble any viral illness, congestion, cough, nausea, vomiting. But if you start to develop or you see see your child is developing any cognitive changes, fever, it can result in seizures. They need medical attention quickly, because part of the encephalopathy has to do with swelling in the brain, and that's something that needs obviously urgent attention, but can be diagnosed with imaging right away, and they can get a clue that that might be the thing that's going on.
All right, Dr. Azar, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. It has been 6 months since that deadly midair collision between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines jet over the Potomac River in Washington. 67 people were killed. Now the NTSB is shedding new light on what happened that night. This new information comes from a 3-day investigative hearing into the crash. Investigators revealed yesterday the chopper pilots may not have known they were flying too high because a critical piece of equipment was malfunctioning. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has more.
Highlighting surveillance video of the mid-air crash over the Potomac River, frustration from NTSB board members after Army aviation experts testified that one of the altimeters in the Black Hawk helicopter fleet is often inaccurate by 100 feet or more. But the Army determined it was within tolerance levels and never advised the pilots.
How much tolerance should we have for aviation safety whenever civilian lives are at risk?
The Army chopper was flying 78 feet above the 200-foot limit when it crashed into the American Airlines regional jet.
I am concerned. There is a possibility that what the crew saw was very different than what the true altitude was.
Air traffic control asked the chopper flying on a nighttime training mission as PAT-25 if it could see the regional jet, the CRJ.
PAT-25, CRJ in flight.
Then told the chopper to pass behind the jet.
PAT-25, pass behind the CRJ. This club has a aircraft inside precision separation.
But the chopper's black box suggests the crew never heard the pass-behind order. Family members wiped away tears as they listened to the crash details and the 15,000 previous close calls at Reagan Airport. Doug Lane lost his wife, Christine, and son, Spencer, coming back from a skating camp in Wichita.
For me personally, adapting to life as a single father, I have another son, a 13-year-old named Milo at home, and him and I have had to kind of navigate a new way of life.
Also from this hearing, we learned that the passenger plane pilots discussed not wanting to change the runway for landing as the controllers requested, but they did. And at the last second, they looked over and quickly pulled the plane up, screaming an expletive as they were hit. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you. Coming up, seltzer snafu, a popular canned alcoholic drink being pulled from the shelves over a labeling mistake. The warning from the FDA. Plus, countdown to kickoff. You heard that right. Football is back with tonight's Pro Football Hall of Fame game. We're going to have all the excitement next. This is Morning News Now. We're back with the story of another pro athlete targeted by burglars. This time it was one of the LA Dodgers star pitchers. Police are now warning about the copycat effect, with robberies using high-tech tools and methods honed by South American crime rings. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock shows us some of that technology.
All-star Dodgers pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto's Hollywood Hills home struck. Law enforcement sources telling NBC News 3 people jumped a fence and broke a rear glass door, but never entered the residence as staff was in the house. Add the ace pitcher to a list of targeted athletes crisscrossing the country. But in Southern California, break-ins have also rocked everyone from movie stars to regular residents of the San Fernando Valley, prompting police to warn the methods looked very similar to those deployed in many of these cases by South American crime rings.
They often know your patterns. They're finding that out through embedding cameras in bushes or in and around the community.
I used my left foot to kick it out, and that's when I discovered it was a device.
This West Covina homeowner showing NBC LA the camouflage device covered in grass he unearthed in his front yard.
I felt violated. It gave me the chills.
Multiple police departments have shared images of concealed cameras, thieves also using signal jammers. What can that thing do?
It can take out every Wi-Fi device in your house and car.
And with a push of a button.
This little switch right here. If I did this right now, we'd lose our Zoom connection because I'm on Wi-Fi.
Security technology consultant Ted Nearhouse showing us how easy it is.
Here we go.
See. Then the screen did freeze, though Nearhouse says you can protect against jammers by hardwiring your system or getting a special frequency from the alarm company.
It would cost an extra maybe $30 a month. At least they won't be able to jam your frequency that's going out to call the police.
A proactive action homeowners can take amidst an unnerving trend. Sam Brock, NBC News.
Let's pivot to your wallet. Profits at Microsoft are booming and breaking records. CNBC's Frank Holland joins us with that and some other dollar sign headlines. Frank, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you as well. Let's start off with that Microsoft news. Microsoft is now the second member of the $4 trillion club. Shares jumping after the company reported better than expected earnings last night, with annual sales from its Azure cloud business topping $75 billion. That's now pushed Microsoft's market value past $4 trillion. NVIDIA became the first company to reach that mark earlier this month. Microsoft stock is now up more than 30% this year. China's cyberspace regulators asking NVIDIA to explain whether its AI chips built specifically for the Chinese market have security risks. Officials are meeting with that company today after U.S. lawmakers call for high-tech chips sold overseas to be equipped with tracking features. The regulator says this raises concerns over the potential impact of user data and privacy. Earlier this month, the Trump administration reversed a ban on NVIDIA selling these chips to China. NVIDIA has not responded to our request for a comment. And you were talking about this story earlier, Joe. High Noon's recalling some of its vodka seltzer drinks as some packages may contain cans of Celsius energy drink that are filled with alcohol. The cans are labeled as, this is the title, Celsius Astro Vibe Sparkling Blue Raz Edition. They were found in shipments of High Noon's Beach Variety 12 packs. They were shipped to retailers in several states earlier this month. The FDA says customers should throw away any Celsius cans and just request a refund, especially if you have Blue Raz Vibe Edition. I can't even remember the title, but a very particular title right there, Joe.
Just look for it online. All right. Appreciate it, Frank. Thank you so much.
You.
Looking ahead, September 4th marks the official start of the 2025 NFL season. The Dallas Cowboys will visit the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, for a Week 1 matchup. But there's still plenty of football action before then with 3 weeks of preseason games. And that starts tonight. Joining us live from Canton, Ohio, the birthplace of the NFL, is the voice of Sunday Night Football, NBC's Mike Tirico. Mike, always good to have you with us. Before we do get into football, I do know the league is planning to acknowledge this week's deadly shooting in New York at tonight's Hall of Fame game. Of course, the NFL headquarters were inside that high-rise building here in Manhattan. What do we know about that?
Yeah, Joe, they'll do something before the game to acknowledge those who were lost. And also one person from the National Football League was seriously injured in that attack and that shooting. So as the funeral for the New York City police officer who was killed in the line of duty happens today, the league will acknowledge that tragedy at their headquarters tonight. We've been in that building very often. That is where the league's operations are during the season as well. And there's so many folks in there. And our heart is breaking, not just for all the people who lost loved ones there, but also the people who work in that building on a regular day. You don't see them with the teams, but they are integral to the day-to-day operation of this large entertainment operation that is the National Football League. So we're thinking of all those folks as well.
Yeah, certainly they will be on everyone's minds tonight. Let's talk about the action on the field. We've got 2 potential playoff teams battling it out at tonight's game. You're going to be in the broadcast booth calling this one for NBC and Peacock. What should fans be watching out for as the preseason kicks off?
Yeah, Joe, we love see football back. You don't see the biggest names when the season starts. For the most part, teams try to keep their best players in bubble wrap, if you will. Make sure you get them to the long regular season. But it is always exciting to see some new coaches in new places. It's exciting to see good young players make their NFL debut. And for both of these teams who have playoff dreams, legitimate playoff dreams, 15 wins for the Lions last year, 11 for the Chargers, as Kaylee mentioned in her story, these are 2 teams that have very talented rosters. So some of the young players who are trying to mix in with some of these veteran faces who you see, who were stars on playoff teams last year, they will be playing. And also the cool part is they get to play their first NFL game in a place where the league started. This is where the league was founded back in 1920. So it's a special emotional game for a lot of folks as well.
Yeah, and with that in mind, let's talk about that. It's the Hall of Fame game for a reason. We've got 4 all-time greats who are going to be officially inducted. That'll happen this Saturday. Tell us more about this year's Hall of Fame class.
Sure. Eric Allen, great cornerback. ton of interceptions. Jared Allen, over 100 sacks, great defensive lineman with multiple teams. Sterling Sharp, career cut short because of an injury, but 7 years, 3 times over 100 catches, one of the great Green Bay Packers. Antonio Gates is the personal favorite for me, along with Sterling. Antonio Gates, born in Detroit, didn't play college football. He was a college basketball player. They saw the ability, said, maybe you can be a tight end. Made it in the NFL, undrafted, played over a decade and a half, all with the Chargers, who played tonight. More touchdowns than any tight end in the history of the National Football League. A real surprise, great story. And he go from undrafted player to most touchdowns for a tight end, and a spot amongst the just under 400 now who are enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Pretty incredible story.
That's what I love about sports, is the stories behind everything that we get to see unfold. We got like 30 seconds left here, but break it down. We got 35 days left till the NFL season really kicks off. What teams are at the top of your rankings here?
Yeah, Joe, it's a lot of the teams we saw last year. In the NFC, it's going to be Philadelphia, won the Super Bowl, and Detroit. You'll certainly see some excitement from teams like Washington, made it to the NFC Championship game. Tampa Bay is going to be in position for another good year, among others. Over in the AFC, you can't start without the Kansas City Chiefs trying to make a 4th straight Super Bowl. Buffalo, Baltimore, who we'll see opening night, have a lot to say about that as well. A lot of teams in that mix, maybe 10, who have a chance to join us at Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara in February.
Which should make for a fun season. All right, Mike Tirico, good to see you. Thanks so much. Have a blast tonight, and it is finally here. First game of the NFL season. Coverage of the Pro Football Hall of Fame will begin tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Coming up, a higher calling for a real-life hero.
I think that volunteer firefighting definitely helped me that, and I guess you could say, some experience now.
When we come back, the new gig for a teenager credited with saving a family from a burning home. This is Morning News Now. Welcome back. Earlier this year, 3 high school students from New York rescued a family from a burning home. One of the teens actually felt so inspired by the experience, he's picking up a new volunteer gig. Reporter Luke Radel from our affiliate WKTV in Utica explains.
We like helping people, and we just wanted to help as much as we can.
17-year-olds Tyler Soja, Aiden Kane, and Morgan Randall watched back the footage from May.
You live in the house? No.
Today, Tyler signed up to become the newest member of the Maynard Fire team that put out those flames.
It was all instinct for me, but it was kind of more, it was definitely after I realized, like, oh wow, that was pretty scary, like something bad could have happened to me.
All right, pull it up by the straps.
He even got a chance to try on some firefighting gear, which can be a bit tricky at first.
It's 2 minutes to get it all on.
Yeah, with the air pack.
His friends, Aiden and Morgan, looked on, asking the important questions.
Is it heavy?
No. Long-term, Tyler says he wants to become a lawyer.
Firefighter, just volunteer work can help me get there and just learn how to help people. So helping people from a different perspective instead of in the courtroom, I think will definitely benefit me on how to treat and talk to other people. So I think that volunteer firefighting definitely helped me that, and I guess you could say, some experience now. So.
Job well done there. Our thanks to WKTV's Luke Radel for the story. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now. Stay with us. The news continues right now. Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. Right now on Morning News Now, deals and deadlines. An 11th hour trade truce ahead of President Trump's long-looming tariff target date tomorrow. The White House announcing a new agreement with South Korea, slapping a 15% tax on its imports. That's down from the previously threatened 25%. But what might that mean for price tags on vital goods like cars and electronics? For watching your wallet. All this fresh concerns mount over the strength of America's economy, with the Federal Reserve keeping key interest rates right where they are. Also this morning, more mid-air terror ending with dozens of Delta passengers in the hospital. The flight traveling from Utah to Amsterdam experiencing what the airline is calling significant turbulence, forcing it to divert to Minneapolis. How Delta is responding to this latest scare in the skies. Plus, graduation season is come and gone, but this year, America's latest job seekers are facing a whole new challenge when it comes to getting a foot in the door. How artificial intelligence is making it all the more difficult for college students to land their first big gig in the corporate world. And it's another giant leap for mankind. A band of 4 more NASA astronauts preparing for liftoff later today, setting their sights on the International Space Station. Let's begin this hour with new developments in President Trump's global trade war. Ahead of tomorrow's self-imposed deadline to negotiate trade deals with the U.S., well, the president imposed high tariffs on both India and Brazil, but South Korea is set for a lower 15% tariff. With so much uncertainty surrounding U.S. trade policy, the Federal Reserve decided to keep interest rates unchanged. That's despite Mr. Trump's push to lower them. NBC News Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now with the very latest. Peter, good morning.
Joe, good morning. When it comes to prices, tomorrow is a critical day on the calendar with the president's threatening to announce steep across-the-board tariff rates, basically import taxes on all those countries that have yet to make a deal with the U.S. The president says this time he is serious, that he is not extending the deadline after previously extending it twice.
Starting tomorrow, many of the tariffs that could affect prices for Americans will kick in. The White House has been pushing to make deals ahead of its self-imposed August 1st deadline. Overnight, President Trump touting his recent trade deals.
U.S. customer is the greatest buyer in the world, and Donald Trump understands how to harness that customer.
After the president announced a new agreement with South Korea, slapping a 15% import tax on South Korean goods. It's lower than the 25% he had initially threatened, but significantly higher than any time in nearly 15 years when a free trade agreement was in effect. The new deal could impact vehicles and electronics, South Korea's top exports to the U.S., as well as popular skincare and cosmetics. The president saying South Korea has also committed to billions of dollars in new U.S. investments. As for new tariffs on other countries, the administration is trying to calm investors.
If there's not a deal by August 1, I would encourage market participants, corporate America, even the countries, not to panic, because you can still do a deal.
It comes as the president is highlighting new domestic economic numbers.
We smashed all expectations. This is truly the dawn of the golden age of America.
The Commerce Department figures that were better than expected show 3% growth this spring, after an economy that shrunk in the first part of the year. The report also shows signs that consumer spending is down. And there's no immediate relief in sight. The Federal Reserve just announcing it will not lower its key interest rate. Fed Chair Jerome Powell has defied the president's public pressure campaign.
I'd love him to lower interest rates.
And among the countries scrambling to lock down a new deal with the U.S., some of America's biggest trading partners like neighbors, Canada and Mexico. The president, whose aides initially, you'll remember, promised to make 90 deals in 90 days, is now likely to dictate the terms for most countries. As one White House official told me this morning, in lieu of any negotiated deal, Joe, the president's letter that he sends to countries serves as the deal. Back to you.
All right, Peter, thank you so much. The family of the late Virginia Giuffre is speaking out and expressing outrage. She was one of Jeffrey Epstein's most vocal accusers before she died by suicide in April. Giuffre's family says they were shocked by President Trump's recent comments in which he said that Giuffre was, quote, stolen from his Mar-a-Lago club by Epstein. NBC News senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson has more.
Hey there. The family of Virginia Giuffre, in a new statement, says they were shocked to hear the president talk about their sister this week. And they're now urging him not to pardon Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who they call a monster who deserves to rot in prison. All as the spotlight intensifies on the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein case. New fiery fallout this morning from the family of one of Jeffrey Epstein's most vocal accusers, Virginia Giuffre, who worked at Mar-a-Lago decades ago and died by suicide in April. In a statement released overnight, Giuffre's family saying it was shocking to hear the president invoke their sister in his comments Tuesday on Air Force One, with the president saying Epstein stole Giuffre from his Mar-a-Lago club years ago.
He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
In a statement, the Giuffre family says it makes us ask if he was aware of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal actions, adding, "We and the public are asking for answers. Survivors deserve this." The White House press secretary telling NBC News President Trump was directly responding to a question posed by a reporter about Ms. Giuffre. He did not bring her up. This week, the president also describing a dispute he says he had with Epstein related to Mar-a-Lago workers.
No, he took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it. And I said, stay the hell out of here.
President Trump has denied any knowledge of wrongdoing by Epstein, a friend of his in the 90s before their falling out. The convicted sex offender died by suicide in prison in 2019, but his accomplice and former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, is still behind bars. Last week, spending 9 hours being interviewed by the number 2 at the Justice Department, who was also the president's former personal attorney. Giuffre said she was a teenager when Maxwell recruited her, something she described to Savannah in a 2019 Dateline interview.
In her mind, I believe she doesn't think that what she did was wrong. That's the kind of evil monster she is.
Giuffre's family now saying the government and the president should never consider giving Maxwell any leniency. President Trump has said he hadn't thought about a pardon for Maxwell, but notably, he hasn't ruled one out.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it.
The Giuffre family says anything less than Maxwell remaining in prison would go down in history, their words, as being one of the highest travesties of justice. Maxwell's lawyer said last week there have been no asks for clemency, but that she would welcome any relief, although a senior administration official tells NBC News no leniency is being given or discussed. Back to you.
All right, Hallie, thank you. This morning, we are learning more about a flight from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam that was hit with turbulence so severe, the plane made an emergency landing in Minneapolis. At least 25 people were rushed to the hospital for evaluation. NBC News correspondent Adrian Broaddus has the latest.
Indeed, frightening moments for crew and passengers on Delta Flight 56. Dozens sent to the hospital in Minneapolis. And this morning, the FAA is investigating.
See the emergency response there.
Scary moments on board a Delta flight yesterday. Severe turbulence forcing an emergency landing and sending 25 people to the hospital. The flight was traveling from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam, but was diverted to Minneapolis after turbulence shook the aircraft.
It encountered extreme turbulence at 37,000 feet, resulting in maintaining of altitude problems.
The Airbus 330 met by a massive emergency response on the ground, and the passengers needing care.
It's a heavy Airbus, and they do have a medical emergency on board.
Delta Airlines releasing a statement saying in part, quote, 25 of those on board were transported to local hospitals for evaluation and care. The effects of the scary turbulence seen inside the plane. Passengers posting online about their experiences tossed around the plane's cabin. It comes after several incidents involving turbulence, including last month when 5 people were taken to the hospital after an American Airlines flight experienced unexpected turbulence, landing safely in North Carolina. Now, passengers grateful to be on the ground so soon after that turbulent time in the skies.
They're now safely down on the ground and they can attend to the needs that they need.
And this morning, no word on the conditions of those hurt, and it's still unclear if all who were injured or those who needed medical attention were passengers or if members of the crew were among them. Joe?
All right. Thank you so much, Adrian. Now to some other aviation news. The NTSB is in the middle of a 3-day investigative hearing into January's midair crash between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet, killing 67 people. Already new evidence suggests the chopper pilots may not have known they were flying too high because a critical piece of equipment was malfunctioning. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the latest details.
Yeah, good day. So listen, the Army now says, in fact, that particular model of Black Hawk helicopter was known to have an altimeter. The altimeter provides an accurate reading of your altitude, and an altimeter that was off, that was inaccurate by up to 100 feet. And then the NTSB says its testing showed it could be off by 130 feet. So is that the reason that the chopper pilots were flying too high when they crashed into that American Airlines regional jet. For the family members of the 67 people who died, a painfully emotional hearing as the NTSB ran video of last January's midair crash between an Army Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet. Among the victims, Peter and Donna Livingston and their daughters, Lydia and Everly.
It's a tremendous loss. It's a whole branch of our family tree that's been cut.
On Wednesday, Army aviation experts testified that the chopper's barometric altimeter is often inaccurate by 100 feet or so, but pilots were never officially told. The Black Hawk was flying almost 100 feet above the 200-foot chopper limit when it crashed into the American Airlines regional jet. Now, the Army says it may advise pilots of the altimeter discrepancy in mid-September.
And you're telling me it's going to be 2 months before you tell them that there's a discrepancy? How about telling them now?
Because it was on a secret nighttime training mission, the chopper's precise GPS location transmitter, called ADS-B, was turned off. The tower could only see a radar signal. Now, Republicans and Democrats want to require all aircraft, commercial and military, to fly with ADS-B turned on.
We cannot have commercial airplanes and helicopters on a collision course ever again.
At the hearing, Doug Lane, whose wife Christine and son Spencer, a rising skating star, were coming back from Wichita.
And, for me personally, adapting to life as a single father, I have another son, a 13-year-old named Milo at home, and him and I have had to kind of navigate a new way of life.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy.
Why did it take 67 lives to be lost and families who are just destroyed forever to realize that you had helicopters flying under civilian aircraft?
Yeah, NTSB Chair Homendy, they're really going after the FAA, saying, listen, the FAA failed to act when air traffic controllers were warning about the potential conflict between choppers and planes. Failed to act when there had been 15,000 close calls here at Reagan Airport, and failed to act and move the chopper path out of the way of the plane traffic here at Reagan National Airport. The FAA on the receiving end of this, really right now under fire, but insists it is cooperating with the investigation. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you. Overnight, we learned an arrest was made in the double murder of a married couple killed while hiking in Arkansas with their 2 young daughters. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock joins us with the latest on these developments. Sam, good morning.
Good morning. This was 5 days, Joe, of fear and unease before Arkansas State Police say they arrested 28-year-old James Andrew McGann at a local barber shop. Like the Brinks, who moved to Arkansas 3 weeks ago, authorities say McGann had also recently moved from out of state for a new job at a local school. What's not clear is the motive. This morning, a suspect is now in custody after a days-long manhunt for the man Arkansas State Police say murdered 43-year-old Clinton Brink and his 41-year-old wife, Kristen.
We were able to take a monster off the streets and bring relief to Clinton and Kristen's precious girls.
Police arresting 28-year-old James Andrew McGann of Springdale, Arkansas on Wednesday at a barber shop roughly 25 miles away from where the killings took place. He's now facing 2 counts of capital murder. On Facebook, people identifying themselves as employees of the barbershop posting this video of police at the scene and saying that the man came in to get a haircut and police arrived soon after, adding the man had acted reserved.
We're still exploring and determining exactly what that motive was. We still have a lot of work to do in terms of, securing a conviction, because that's our next big focus right now.
Police say McGann recently moved to the area from Oklahoma after getting a job at a local school. The Brinks were brutally attacked last weekend during a family hike at Devil's Den State Park. Their 2 daughters, just 7 and 9 years old, witnessing the horrific event and running for help.
They advised that their parents were assaulted. One was possibly stabbed. The parents are missing.
State police had released this composite sketch of a person of interest, adding that a wave of tips and video footage was critical in tracking down McGann.
The public was instrumental. It was overwhelming.
As the Brink family grieves and processes their unimaginable loss, the sprawling trails at Devil's Den State Park remain closed, with locals offering prayers for Clinton and Kristen.
For a family to have to go through and deal with that level of tragedy
is something that no one should ever experience and something that we never want to take place in our state.
And we could not immediately reach an attorney for McGann, who, Joe, is expected in court tomorrow. You saw a snippet of video there from the barber shop. The woman who identified herself as the stylist who was cutting his hair described the fact that she was just in the middle of it when all of a sudden police and detectives just rushed in. And then you also saw in the video, they're taking pictures and snapping up the hair itself, presumably to build a case. But we don't have right now. They've been very tight-lipped, investigators, what the possible motive could be. But they're working on the case.
We'll see if we learn more in the coming days. All right, Sam, thank you. It is life in prison for a Colorado dentist found guilty of murdering his wife. He was accused of poisoning her with cyanide, arsenic, even lacing her protein shakes with eye drops. NBC News correspondent Camila Bernal joins us with more on this verdict. Camila, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. So James Craig was found guilty of that first-degree murder of his wife, Angela, but also 5 other charges, including one solicitation to commit murder against the lead detective in this case. He'll spend the rest of his life behind bars now, which is a relief to Angela's family, who spoke out in emotional testimony in court.
We, the jury, unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt, find the defendant, James Craig, guilty of murder in the first degree.
After about 8 hours of deliberation, the Colorado dentist charged with fatally poisoning his wife over 10 days was found guilty.
Dr. Craig unleashed a path of destruction as wide as a tornado and just as devastating.
The jury determining James Craig killed his wife Angela in 2023 by poisoning her protein shakes with over-the-counter eye drops, doctoring her pills, and injecting her IV with a fatal dose of cyanide while she was in the hospital.
It's hard to lose your mom, and 3 days after that, lose your dad. I miss her. I want my mom.
Emotional victim impact statements read by Craig's own children and Angela's siblings.
He was supposed to be my hero, and instead he'll forever be the villain in my book. You were supposed to be her protector, her advocate. She just didn't know that you were the perpetrator.
The defense claimed Angela was broken by Craig's repeated infidelity during their 23 years of marriage, eventually becoming suicidal and asking Craig to order the poisons. But the jury found Craig not guilty of the assisted suicide charge.
The jury said it loudly. Angela was not suicidal. She had no knowledge of or participation in what happened to her.
Jurors also finding Craig guilty on one count of solicitation of first-degree murder for asking a former cellmate to find somebody to kill 4 people, including the lead detective in his case. The DA hoping this verdict brings a measure of justice for the mother of 6.
We hope this verdict also brings a sense of closure and peace to Angela's family, especially her children, who will live with the unimaginable pain of what James Craig did to their mother for the rest of their lives.
And James Craig declined to make a statement at his sentencing. The conviction on the murder charge carried an automatic life sentence without the possibility of parole. The additional charges added 33 years. Joe.
All right, Camila, thank you so much. NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris joins us now. So pretty quick verdict here, which I don't think was terribly surprising to folks who are paying attention. But at the end of the day, what do you think was the key evidence here that led to that verdict?
So prosecutors had a mountain of evidence, a lot of it electronic. They put together this tight timeline that it was really difficult for the defense to overcome. But more than that is the human element of this, just thinking about the level of deception. And prosecutors were able to show that through that electronic evidence with James Craig, and just to show everybody is in the hospital trying to figure out what's wrong with Angela. She's a healthy woman who goes into the hospital for 10 days, ends up brain dead and ultimately dying. Everyone in her life is trying to figure out what's going on, including the doctors, except for him. And then the family finding out all of what was going on behind the scenes, truly devastating.
We saw the defense here did not call any witnesses. For Sean Diddy Combs, that seemed to work. Obviously, it didn't work here. Would that have helped to try and call some more witnesses? What could the defense have done differently?
From a defense strategy, it is the most conservative thing to do to just say prosecutors did not fulfill their burden of proof. It seems like there weren't really any witnesses that would have been favorable in this particular case. case. So the defense tried to point at insufficiencies of the investigation. They had this very far-fetched alternative theory of Angela wanting to poison herself, but they had to do something to explain how these poisons were found in her system. And he was caught red-handed, at least ordering that cyanide to his dental practice. So they did what they could. They had an uphill battle, of course.
The sentence is pretty straightforward based on the law in Colorado. Anything stand out, though, from that sentencing that happened so quickly after the verdict?
Absolutely. So the judge did something very symbolic to really show the depravity of this case. And it was taking all of those other charges where there was a cumulative amount of years outside of the life without the possibility of parole that comes with first-degree murder. And she made that a consecutive sentence. So there's consecutive, which means that it happens after that life sentence. So it's just tacking on decades more, which is symbolic because it doesn't really matter since the first-degree murder carries that mandatory sentence of life. But it was really to show just how this case has impacted those victims and how terrible it was.
Prosecutors say that an appeal is inevitable, which we would expect in any case like this. Anything you saw that could be grounds for a successful appeal here?
Appeals are really based on judicial error. There's evidence that came in that shouldn't have. There's evidence that didn't come in that should have. But here, it also has to matter, meaning that the outcome of the trial would have been different if that evidence was not before the jury. It would be very difficult for him to be successful on the appeal given what we saw. But that's the reason why defense actually asked for the sentencing immediately, because the time to appeal begins once the sentencing process is done. So I'm sure they'll be off to the races on that.
There we go. Misty Maris, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. In Florida, it looks like all systems are go for today's scheduled NASA and SpaceX rocket launch to the International Space Station. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra is at the Kennedy Space Center. Joined us now with all the details. Marissa, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. These blue skies bode well for a launch this afternoon from historic launch pad 39A. Now, if all goes according to plan, those on board will join 7 aboard the International Space Station for a roughly 6-month stay in space.
NASA is buzzing with activity this morning as the clock is ticking towards liftoff for the SpaceX Crew 11. The 4-person crew made up of a diverse team from the U.S., Japan, and Russia. Expected to spend at least 6 months on board the International Space Station, orbiting 250 miles above Earth.
I'm so eager to see this mission launch, but as always, we launch when we're ready.
For the crew's commander, Zena Cardman, it'll be her first trip to space.
As a first-time flyer, this is the first moment when it's really starting to feel real.
Cardman had to give up her seat with Crew 9 last August so Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who were stuck in space for 9 months, could hitch a ride home. Now, almost a year later, her time has finally come.
What are you most looking forward to with this mission?
I'm, of course, excited to see the Earth from that vantage point. I'm just so excited to feel what it's going to be like.
This will be the 4th trip to the space station for NASA pilot and Pennsylvania native Mike Fink, boasting his excitement on social media, writing, "Space has been calling my name ever since I returned from my last mission in 2011. Our crew is ready. Let's do this."
Going to see the space station that we dreamed about. On my first mission, the house has gotten bigger, the family's expanded.
And it's already been a busy week in the space world.
3, 2, 1.
NASA teaming up with India's space agency to launch a new satellite on Wednesday, capable of tracking changes of land and ice on the Earth's surface.
This Earth science mission is one of a kind.
And the SpaceX Starship, the world's largest rocket, now readying for its 10th test flight in early August. Elon Musk betting on Starship to one day bring humans to Mars. But first, Crew 11's commander is getting her shot at the stars.
My mom, when I used to go to Antarctica, she would joke, "Well, at least you're still on Earth." So, sorry about that, Mom.
Not for long. Now, if all goes according to plan, which we are going to manifest an on-time launch, that is slated for 12:09 this afternoon. Docking would then be on Saturday. And of course, we are going to have live coverage right here on NBC News Now. Me, Tom Costello, as well as a former astronaut are going to be narrating that live on News Now. And Joe, I just got to add, one of those astronauts that I had a pleasure of talking to, the NASA commander, Zena Cardman, she says she is bringing a photo of her mother with her to space so her mom can feel like she's also a part of the ride, Joe.
Love that. That is so cool. Looking forward to the coverage this afternoon. Marissa, thank you so much. So, weather looks good in Florida. Not so great here in the Northeast. Angie Lassman's here with the wet forecast. Angie, good morning.
Joe, you asked for some relief from the heat, and I'm delivering today.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
No, it just comes in the form of a little bit of rain. And we're talking about significant rain at times across a big chunk of the country. So let's get you out the door for what you need to know right now. From essentially northern New England all the way back to the Midwest, we're dealing with rain. Indianapolis been in and out of the thunderstorms. Buffalo, now much of that is going to work its way farther to the east, farther to the south as the day goes on. And we're preparing for some really significant rainfall. So while it's not raining just yet in New York City and points south, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., it will start raining here as we get into the second half of the day. So preemptively, we've got these flood watches up for 46 million people. We're expecting significant rainfall, the potential for some severe weather through the day today as that front works farther to the east. And you can see it essentially will start right about midday and last through the evening hours. That means that afternoon commute along the I-95 corridor likely going to be difficult. We'll probably see some urban flash flooding. This is going to be, again, some significant rainfall across the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. We're also, as mentioned, going to watch for some severe weather. Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., the potential is there. You're under a slight risk. There's 21 million people included in that. And we're mainly looking at the wind gusts and the hail, but we potentially could see some tornadoes, 1 or 2 tornadoes forming across this region. If you live in the Baltimore area, Washington, D.C., that's kind of the pinpoint of where we're looking for tornado development as the day goes on, as we get that daytime heating underway. In addition to that, I mentioned that we'll see some significant rainfall, and we could see rainfall rates anywhere from an hour or from an inch to 3 inches per hour. We know what happens across this region when that happens. The subway really can only handle about 1 3/4 inches per hour. We'll likely see some flooding again on those roadways. In the transportation situation likely will be difficult into the afternoon hours. And by the time it's all said and done, across parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, we could see upwards of 5 inches. Some isolated spots, Joe, I think potentially could see up to 8 inches. We'll see this rain work through, and eventually we'll see some quieter conditions across this area for tomorrow and cooler. So we got through the heat if you're in the Northeast. Yeah. We're going to get through the rain today, but of course being careful not driving through those flooded roadways. And then tomorrow, it really pays off.
I'm liking the weekend forecast.
Me too. You and me both.
I'm looking at that.
Look ahead to that.
Angie, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Texas state lawmakers will meet today to hear from people whose lives were forever changed by the floods that ravaged the Hill Country earlier this month. More than 130 people were killed in those floods. Residents will talk about the state and local response to the tragedy. NBC News national correspondent Morgan Chesky grew up in Kerrville, which is one of the areas hit hardest by the flood. He went back there to tell the stories of the people in the town he knows and loves for a new NBC documentary. Morgan, good morning.
Yeah, Joe, good morning. Certainly a unique perspective that I never could have anticipated until getting that text from my mom saying that Kerrville was flooding. And we were fortunate enough, Joe, to have a special team from 30 Rock come into Kerrville so that as we were sharing the stories on the Today Show, on NBC Nightly News and on News Now, we could also hear new voices. And those are some of the folks that we hope to introduce people to in this new documentary, This Hit Home. And here's just a glimpse of what the team will be sharing.
When I woke up that morning, there's a live video of downtown looking towards downtown and the water under the bridge, but I didn't recognize what I was looking at because that bridge is 30 feet up. At least. It's giving me goosebumps right now thinking, you know, there's a lot of RV parks kind of tucked back in these neighborhoods that, you know, aren't visible from the road.
Good night, man. How many times do you think you made this drive?
I don't know. I think my truck could go on autopilot out there.
Straight? Yeah, straight to the river.
Yeah. And that was the best thing about growing up around here, and that's what I took for granted.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's hot, it's after school, what are we gonna do? Oh, let's go to this rope swing, that rope swing, to the flats. And it's just weird driving past here and not seeing 100 people on the dam.
Sliding down. Yeah. I mean, 2 years ago, on 4th of July, we're at the camp.
Yeah, you had your daughter in the water.
Yeah, 6 weeks old.
Yeah, it's like a hill country baptism.
Absolutely. I just remember when people ask me where I'm from, I would always, you know, say Kerrville. And if they didn't know Kerrville, it was like, oh, it's on the Guadalupe River.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh.
I went to camp there. My mom went to camp there.
Yeah. The camp's been out here forever.
I mean, all across Texas, you know, someone knows someone, works with someone who is, you know, affected by this.
Right.
Unfortunately, 2 of my friends, their daughters didn't make it.
Yeah, man.
I think everyone right now is just going through the motions, taking care of each other. And when all that's over, I think you're going to find a lot more sadness.
Mystic is sort of a utopia. It is the most beautiful spot in the Hill Country, the most beautiful, perfect setting in the Hill Country. And so to see it just completely destroyed is just devastating for all of us. It wasn't until my friend let me know that 2 of her daughter's cabin mates had washed up downriver that I knew something really horrible had happened. I have friends who lost their babies. In a few cases, I've been working to get some of their belongings back to them.
What are you telling
them? There's nothing you can tell them right now. This is the most heartbreaking thing imaginable, and it could have been any one of our girls.
Morgan, I'm so glad you went back, because so often, as you know, with tragedies like this, maybe the media is there for a week or 2 and then the nation's attention moves on to something else. And so it's so important to remember what folks there will be dealing with for months and years. During that interview, I noticed your friend Tanner, we saw a bumper sticker on the truck that says Kerr County Strong. Talk about how this disaster and the way your community has come together, how that's impacted or maybe even changed your view of where you grew up.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, I knew that there were a lot of tough folks in Kerrville, but this has certainly brought even more out of the woodwork to kind of pitch in and help everyone take one step forward at a time here. You know, I was struck by a couple of things simultaneously, Joe, and I think the thing that I sit with is, you know, you and I have covered many disasters, and we've met many people who are enduring the worst day of their lives. And when I rolled into Kerrville that day, I didn't know that this layer of separation with all of these prior stories that we've had would be removed, because when the victims' names came out and you recognize some of them, that's a whole other ballgame. And to have that feeling and then see folks who did survive the flood but now have to pick up the pieces kind of all meld in one moment was unique in all the wrong ways. That said, as you mentioned, it has been incredibly heartening to see the people come together the way in which they have. At one point, volunteers were having to be turned away from multiple spots in Kerr County simply because they, you know, it was still kind of a dangerous area near the river, and they had as many crews down there looking as they could have. But this is not going to be a recovery that takes weeks or months. It will take years. And so for the first time, I think ever, Joe, I find myself personally and emotionally invested in one of these stories to see it all the way through. And we hope that, you know, this doc, this hit home kind of showcases just some of the journey that so many people are going to be facing there.
And it's just the start, and we know you'll continue to keep these stories in the spotlight. Morgan Chesky, thank you so much. The NBC News Digital doc, This Hit Home, is available right now. You can just scan the QR code on your screen. You can also find it at NBCnews.com. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including how AI is giving new college grads a workforce wake-up call right as they try to kick off their corporate careers. First, after the break, a well-known Palestinian activist gunned down on camera in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli settler accused of pulling the trigger, now released from custody. That's next. We're back with details on the latest deadly incident in the occupied West Bank. An Israeli settler was released from custody after he was accused of killing a Palestinian in the territory earlier this week. The victim was a well-known activist who worked on the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, which depicted the challenges faced by Palestinians living in the West Bank. NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley has more.
It could have been a scene straight out of their Oscar-winning documentary.
An Israeli settler violently confronts a group of unarmed Palestinians in the West Bank before allegedly shooting dead Odeh Hathalin, a Palestinian teacher, activist, and father of three who had helped produce the film No Other Land.
Shoot me.
NBC doesn't know the events that led up to this video on Monday, nor the shooting death, which wasn't shown in this clip posted to X by one of the film's Israeli directors, Yuval Ibrahim. But the events shown here would be familiar to the filmmakers and audiences of No Other Land.
This is what's happening in my village now. Soldiers are everywhere.
The alleged assailant, Yenon Levy, is also familiar, not just to Palestinians in the West Bank, but authorities throughout the world. Yenon Levy is well known, said the victim's cousin. Everyone knows how hostile and violent he is. Witnesses identified Levy, whose history of fundraising for settlers put him on the Biden administration's sanction list last year, but the Trump administration lifted all sanctions on Israeli settlers a few months ago. Asked about the killing, a State Department spokesperson deferred to Israeli authorities, who did detain Levy on Monday, but a court released him to house arrest the following day. Police said the matter is currently in its early stages, and additional investigative actions are expected during the night. Police didn't identify Levy by name, but Israeli media showed pictures of him smiling in court. Levy's lawyer said his client acted in self-defense against stone-throwing Palestinians. Levy's release jives with the film's broader message. That police often ignore settler attacks against Palestinians in the West Bank and sometimes even take the settlers' side during the attacks. No Other Land, directed by 2 Israelis and 2 Palestinians, won Hollywood's highest honor for Best Documentary Feature Film.
To stop the ethnic cleansing of Palestinian people.
No Other Land chronicled settler attacks in the West Bank town of Masafer Yatta, a cluster of villages on the West Bank's southern edge that are regularly attacked by Israelis who live in settlements nearby. One of those villages, Al Khair, was the scene of Monday's killing. Now this small community is mourning one of its own, as fellow filmmakers mourn an activist whose voice, they said, was silenced too soon.
Auda was a father, was a teacher, was an amazing activist and a close friend to us. Our hearts are really break. I hardly believe that he's gone.
Matt Bradley, NBC News.
Coming up, the Jeffrey Epstein case still very much weighing on minds in the White House, in Washington, and beyond. When we come back, we're going to dig into some brand new polling on how President Trump's Republican supporters are feeling about the controversy. That's next on Morning News Now. We're back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning. A GOP senator's legislation to ban members of Congress from owning or trading individual stocks is facing pushback in Washington, including from the president. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin joined us from Washington with this and other political headlines. Julie, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. We begin here in Washington. That's where Missouri GOP Senator Josh Hawley got called a second-tier senator, ouch, by President Trump after he was the only Republican to vote for a bill that would ban elected officials from owning or selling individual stocks. Here's the thing. Hawley joined Democrats on the Homeland Security Committee to support the bill, but not before getting into it with fellow Republican Senator Rick Scott, who he accused of prioritizing his wealth, all because Scott opposed the bill. Now, Joe, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she now backs the legislation after opposing similar efforts over the years. But Trump wanted Republicans to investigate her husband's stock trading. Even though Hawley told me he negotiated a provision that would effectively exempt Trump from the bill, the president isn't happy. And speaking of the president, support for Trump's handling of immigration is slipping, though it's still one of his top issues among voters. But there has been a clear decline, and Trump's approval rating overall is dropping too. He still gets high marks on securing the border. Illegal crossings are actually the lowest they have been in decades. But when you get into the specifics, voters aren't liking the administration's more aggressive policies. Just to give you an example, earlier this summer, Joe, I was in Newark, New Jersey, a community of immigrants. I heard from voters who supported Trump and are now criticizing him after several ICE raids in that city. And now to Texas, where Republicans in the state released a new congressional map that would give the party a chance to pick up 5 House seats in next year's midterms. This all comes after President Trump publicly pressured for a new map in the state to shift district lines in a way that could push out current Democratic members of Congress in and around big cities like Austin, Dallas, and Houston, plus endangered members in districts in southern Texas won by Trump. It's happening in part because Republicans have such a narrow majority in Congress, and they want to hold on to it. But in response, Democrats are accusing Republicans of trying to rig the system and are floating their own redistricting possibilities in California, New York, and other blue states. Top House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries is actually in Texas this morning with Democrats in that state. And that is a look at what is making news in politics this morning. Joe?
All right, Julie, thank you so much. Let's keep talking about politics. The White House is facing intense pressure that has lasted weeks to release files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A new Washington Post poll out this week shows the majority of Americans want President Trump to release those files. 2/3 say they strongly support releasing them. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster joins us now from St. Clair, Michigan, with more on this. Shaq, good morning. So St. Clair is a conservative city that President Trump won in last year's election. Let's start with more on this new polling data out from the Washington Post. Just what are we learning about how Republicans feel about the president's handling of the Epstein case?
Yeah, Joe, this Washington Post poll is incredibly interesting because they texted earlier this week more than 1,000 people. And you mentioned across all Americans, you had about 86% saying they want these files released. But you saw some divides among Republican voters. Look at these numbers here. You see 38% of people say that they want when asked about Trump's handling of the issue, and excuse this lawnmower behind us, say that they approve of the president's actions. 38% say that they have no opinion, while 24% say they disapprove of the Trump administration's handling of these issues. And that's pretty rare to have that number, 24% of disapproval on an issue among Republicans when asked about a Republican president.
They are out mowing early in St. Clair, Michigan this morning. So this is noteworthy because so often Republicans tend to fall in line with President Trump. And this issue has been an outlier, which is one of the main reasons it is still in the news so much. Where you are, St. Clair County, that has been in the Republican column since the 2008 election. I know you've been speaking with voters there who are very opinionated when it comes to this administration. What are they saying about the Epstein case?
Well, it's mirroring what you saw in that polling. I want you to listen to some of the conversations I had. Again, this is a conservative county, so these are mostly people who support the president. Listen here.
I don't know why they're not releasing them. I couldn't tell you why. I would like to see transparency.
I want the people that were, if they were involved with some kind of pedophilia or something like that, they need to go to jail now.
You support the administration not releasing those files?
I just support President Trump and Vance.
I'm more concerned about the accountability. People need to be held accountable for inappropriate behavior.
Now, there is some nuance. There's a bit of a caveat here. Even among those who say they disagree with how Trump is handling this issue, based on the conversations I've been having, they're saying that doesn't impact how they view the president. They still support him, pointing to things like immigration and the economy, Joe.
Shaq, another thing we should note is this is a border town with Canada. Tariffs have been a huge focus during President Trump's second term. Real quick, what's the take there on how that policy is going?
Let's go right to the sound. Again, remembering these are Republicans, or at least Trump-supporting folks that I've been talking to. Listen to what they told me.
I'm watching the tariffs very, very closely. I mean, Canada's come along. Everybody had their shakes 4 months ago.
I think the tariffs are good. It's about time that, like he said, that we don't get taken advantage of anymore. And it's time to get the tariffs going on some of the goods that are coming into this country. So I think it's a good thing.
But, Joe, they told me this is an issue they are watching very closely. I think just to underscore the point, right behind me, that's Canada on the other side of the river. So this is something that they are impacted by. They're watching closely, even if they're giving the president some grace, giving him some time to make these trade deals before they form a full opinion, Joe.
All right, Shaq, thank you so much. Coming up, summertime means new college grads are on the hunt for their first big corporate jobs in corporate America. But when Morning News Now returns, we're going to dig into how artificial intelligence is actually making it harder for them to land those entry-level gigs. That's next. Stay with us. We are back with a rapidly changing job market that is being reshaped by artificial intelligence. The shift, dubbed the AI boom, is making it harder for college students to land a job after graduation. Now, the current national unemployment rate overall is about 4%, but for new grads, it was nearly 7% over the last 12 months, 6.6%. One big reason, AI is automating several entry-level roles. For more on this, let's bring in Lindsay Ellis. She is a workplace reporter for the Wall Street Journal. Lindsay, good to have you with us. So you recently did some in-depth reporting on this. How exactly are we seeing this AI boom play out right now? What are the entry-level jobs that are most at risk?
Great question. So we've seen chief executives of a number of major companies announce our workforce is going to be slimmer and generative AI is part of the reason. And when we think about the tasks that are most susceptible to being absorbed by AI, entry-level roles do a lot of those tasks. So yes, we're seeing it in software with coding jobs. Those are rapidly changing, but also in some business sectors as well, especially for kind of back-end processes, analyst roles, and in some legal professions too.
I know you spoke with several executives in multiple industries about the rapid growth of AI. What did they tell you is the biggest challenge companies face right now when it comes to hiring younger, more junior level employees?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, when companies bring on junior employees, it's always sort of a compact between the firm and the young professional, right? I mean, you're bringing on someone with fewer years of experience. You have to mentor and train them more. And they really take a lot to sort of get up to speed. Now, when they have AI and they're facing a really uncertain economy where they're not sure what the next tariff might be or what's going to happen geopolitically in the next quarter or year, there's an appeal for some executives to lean on this technology and create a little bit of a cushion instead of extending an offer to, as large of a cohort of new graduates.
Let's mention or talk more about tech companies, which, as you mentioned, seem to be leading this trend of hiring fewer young employees. In 2024, recent graduates accounted for only 7% of new hires across the 15 largest tech companies. Talk more about what's impacting this decline in hiring.
Yeah, so a couple of things that we learned in our reporting. First, I mean, a lot of tech chief executives, as you've seen in headlines in recent weeks and months, they are quite open about the fact that AI is going to be replacing jobs and slimming their workforce. On the coding end, I think that's a place where new graduates and interns are seeing their work change quite rapidly.
Yeah.
One college intern told me in the reporting for this, the jobs that interns used to do, AI can just do that. And so he's seeing job descriptions for internships talk about agentic workflows, which wouldn't have been the case 2 years ago. So it's both a question of what the jobs are going to entail and whether new graduates will be prepared for that kind of work in software, and also just the sheer number of them.
In only 10 seconds, what's the top advice you give a grad who's trying to figure this out?
Well, the advice that I heard from executives as they were talking to their own kids or mentees was focus on relationships and the types of jobs that, will involve a face-to-face interaction or building trust with somebody. Those would be less likely, they say, to kind of be subject to AI or be automatable versus not.
All right, Lindsay Ellis, appreciate your time and your reporting. Thanks for joining us this morning. Coming up, an unbearably heartwarming way to wrap up the hour. When we come back, the NFL team that's making one special team's gridiron dreams come true, offering up a chance to become so much more than just a fan. We'll explain next. Hour with the story of a dream come true for a 13-year-old boy from Indiana. NBC's Adrian Brada shows us how his favorite NFL team made it possible.
Okay, family on three.
Family on three. One, two, three.
Family!
On a football field where dreams are chased.
John, you need to come hang out with the quarterbacks, man. Caleb, nice to meet you, boss.
An Indiana farm boy's dream waits.
It was just amazing and one of my best days ever.
13-year-old Liam Woodworth surprised by his favorite team, the Chicago Bears. What is it about the Bears you love?
They're like the underdog.
A challenge Liam understands.
I was born with 3 heart chambers instead of 4.
Liam's first surgery, 11 days after he was born. 5 operations, including 3 open heart surgeries.
They call it half a heart. He has the biggest heart.
It's that grit that landed him on the team's roster, signing a 1-day ceremonial contract.
There we go. Congrats, bud.
Thank you.
If you think today was hard, try living one day in this man's life.
It just like made me proud to feel like it's a little hard here.
What do those scars remind you of?
Like the background of my life and what I've accomplished.
Liam, break us down, man.
A bear for a day with memories for life.
Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Family!
Adrian Broaddus, NBC News.
Congrats to Liam. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. Stay with us. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.